Hi, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Erica. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. I would love to have you subscribe, like, comment, and if you're returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. So today's video is going to be a chatty get ready with me. And I have an eyeshadow palette in my collection that I've had now for close to a month and have never used it. So today is the day. And that would be the Gourmande Girls Ethereal palette. Now I do have the Sailor Moore palette from this brand. I absolutely love it. I saw Steph from Steph's Beauty Stash use this on her channel, and I pretty much lost my mind and instantly went and ordered this palette. All shimmers, duochrome, just gorgeous. I swatched a couple of these and they swatched like an absolute dream. And I think what I'm going to be using today is this shade here called Nova, and maybe this shade here too called Dream, maybe this shade called Pure. I don't know. I mean, I could do a video where I create 25 looks with this palette, but you're just going to get one today. I'm just so excited to finally use this. And then I am going to be pulling in some mattes from a different palette. This is the Moira Cosmetics Day Dreams palette that I got in one of my ice cream beauty boxes. And I've used this, 4 times now? And the mattes in here are so nice. The shimmers are really nice too. But today I'm just going to be focusing on the mattes. And I think I'm going to use this one here called Start and this one here called Dreamy. I think I might put in maybe one of these pink shades here. This is called Cloud 9. This one's called Moony. I don't know, but you guys are going to watch it all come together. And I really just wanted to sit and chat with you guys about some things. I do have my base products on and my brows are done. I might put my blush and my bronzer and other things on too during this video. It just kind of depends on how long this goes. But you will definitely be seeing an eye look be created with those 2 palettes today. So if you're interested to watch my look come together and you also want to listen to me chat for a little while, then sit back, relax, and let's get started. All right, let's get started with this look and also with my chatty get ready with me. Now, I did prime my eyelids in the P. Louise eyeshadow base in Rumor 01, and I'm going to do a much better job this time about putting all of the makeup that I use on my face in the description box. I haven't been doing that lately because I've been a little too lazy. But let's get started with this. This is the Moira Cosmetics Day Dreams palette, and I'm going to be using this shade right here called Start. I'm going to put that in my transition area, and I think I will just go ahead and do both eyes on camera today. And there's just some things that have been bouncing around in my head for a while. And it's always fun when that starts to happen if I sit down and just talk about it in a video. You guys are always amazing to talk to about many different things. I have determined since I started my channel, I just look forward to that so much. And it's kind of, I don't know, maybe a little bit of a therapy session for me. Not that you guys are my counselors, because I know you're not. But it's just nice to just talk about things that, I don't know, affect me in one way or another, get your guys' take on it, get some of your insight, your wisdom, that sort of thing. And I always like to connect with people about life stuff. You know, I don't think that all of my videos just need to be solely about makeup. It's nice to just chat about life. Got a little bit of kick up in the pan there. There's just some things that I have struggled with in my life, you know, through childhood into adulthood. Things I've gotten a lot better at, but things that I still sometimes kind of go, I need some help with that. And there are 3 different things that I wanted to talk about that I struggle with at times in my life. Some things, like I said, I've gotten much better at, but some things I still kind of struggle with. The first thing is forgiveness. That's something that I have struggled with a lot in my life. I think one of the main reasons why I struggle with it so much is that there's this little like voice in my head that'll tell me that, like, okay, well, if you forgive that person for whatever happened, then you're telling them that what they did was okay. And that's a very immature voice. It's like what my 6-year-old self telling me that. And I can remember growing up and, you know, having issues with friends or, I don't know, other family members or whatnot. And, you know, having my feelings hurt, having somebody do something that, you know, really upset me or really bothered me. And I would go and talk to my mom about it. And she would say to me, the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. And you know that you have forgiven someone, whether you say it to them, whether you say it out loud, whatever, but you know you have forgiven somebody when you get to a point of just indifference. Because when you're angry with somebody for hurting you and you hate that person and you're so bitter and, you know, have all those yucky feelings inside you, they're winning. And they have just as much power and control over your life and over your emotions and your thoughts as they did when they were in your life and you loved them and you thought they were the greatest person in the world. And in some cases, even more so. And she would say to me, why would you want someone that has hurt you or upset you or let you down or whatever the situation may be? Why would you want them to live rent-free in your head? You got to learn to let it go. And she said, that's when you really know that you've forgiven somebody and you've moved on with your life. Once you can say you are completely indifferent. You can see them, you can talk about them, you can hear other people talk about them, and you just don't give two hoots. And that's really where I try to get with situations where someone's like really hurt me or, done something crappy to me. I just try to get completely to the point of indifference with them. So now I'm going to go into the shade here called Dreamy. I'm going to deepen up the outer corner with that. And it was really interesting. I was talking to Dion from Dion Loves Makeup. I will link her channel in the description box. She and I talk on the phone pretty often. And it was maybe, 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. We were just chatting on the phone one night. And we were just kind of, talking about our families, just, getting to know each other better. And I was telling her about my biological dad. And that, I haven't seen him since I was, 18, 19 years old. And I was telling her, I'm over it. I've moved on with my life. I don't really think about him anymore. I don't care about what happened. My parents got divorced when I was like 10. And I did do a video about that. And then in the next breath, I said, and I'm still really angry with my dad. And she's like, wait, whoa, stop right there. Now, Dion is a therapist. And so she comes at things from, I would say kind of like a clinical perspective, but she's very objective, which I love that about her. Because, yes, there are times when she will commiserate with me about things, but usually she's very, kind of outside looking in, and she provides me with a lot of really good advice. She should charge me. She really should for our phone conversations, because they typically end up being therapy sessions for me. But she said, listen to what you just said. She said, you did say that you were over things that had happened with your dad and that you'd moved on with your life and you were over it. And then you said that you're still really angry with your dad. So she said, are you over what happened with your dad? And I was like, Dion, good point. I don't know. But it just kind of made me pause and made me kind of think about that, because, I had kind of told myself that I was over all of that stuff, and maybe I'm not. And maybe in some situations in your life, you're never going to be over what happened. The things that happen that are really hard and really crappy, you may never really truly get over it. But the thing that I can say about getting to a point of indifference or forgiveness, however you want to look at it, whatever you want to call it, is that it feels so good to not carry that crap around inside you all the time. People that can't let go of things and have that just constant sense of like anger and bitterness rolling around inside of them. I've been there, and it sucks. It does not feel good to feel that way. And that's really the thing that I've kind of gotten to in my life is, yeah, maybe I struggle with the forgiveness part of it, but I also don't want to struggle with having a situation where someone, those events or that person is constantly just banging around in my brain. I don't want that. Now I'm going to go back into Start and just blend that out just a little bit there. And something else that I've struggled with in my life too around forgiveness is, forgiving someone and then not having them in your life anymore. That was always kind of a weird concept to me. I was like, well, how can you forgive someone? You should let them back into your life and have a relationship with them again. And what I've determined is, no, you don't have to do that. Another thing my mom used to always say to me too is, when someone shows you their true colors, believe them, because they're not lying. And that's so true. And sometimes with people, they don't deserve to be in your life anymore. When someone continually does something that hurts you, it's kind of now on your shoulders, on the balls in your court to get them out of your life and keep them out of your life. But it does not mean that you have to hold on to what they did to you for the rest of your life either. You can let them go and let what they've done to you go as well. So now let's go into the Ethereal palette. And I'm going to go into this shade right here. This is called Nova. It's kind of like a blue and purple and pink flip. You can't see that in my camera. Dang it. But it's so beautiful. So it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of some food for thought. And I'd like to know how you guys handle forgiveness. Are you quick to forgive? Does it take you a while to forgive somebody if they've done something to hurt you? Like, let me know about that in the comment section. I'd like to chat with you guys about it. And like, how do you get to a point of indifference? Like, does it take you a long time? Oh my gosh, that is so gorgeous. Oh, that is so beautiful. There is kind of like a hard overspray over the top, you know? I think it's to kind of keep the shimmers intact in there because they're kind of flaky, I guess. So I think I kind of have to dig underneath that a little bit, but oh, that is so pretty. Oh, I love it. I love it. And then something else that I used to struggle with a lot when I was younger, and I've gotten a lot better about it as I've gotten older, is saying no, setting boundaries. I've really learned that it's so crucial and so important to say no when you want to say no and to set boundaries. I mean, I can't express that enough, how important it is to be able to do that. And I think a lot of the reasons why I struggled with it when I was young was because I was raised in a situation or in a family where I was the yes person. I was the comedian. I always did what I was told for the most part. I mean, there's times I acted like kind of a ding dong and would do stuff that I knew I shouldn't be doing. But for the most part, you know, I just was really easygoing, really go with the flow, just kind of did what I was told, you know. And I think that is an admirable quality. I do. And, you know, when you're a kid, you do kind of have to do what you're told, what your parents tell you to do and whatnot. But that did kind of follow me into adulthood, where I just kind of took on this role of just saying yes to everything and always being available to everybody else and always putting other people's feelings and their well-being above my own. And I think I will actually grab, where is this? Yes, this palette here, the Moira Cosmetics palette again. And I think what I might do is use this shade here. This is called Of Dreams, yeah? This lighter pink, and I think I'm gonna blend that out just a little bit around the outside there. And what I determined as I aged and got older is that, unfortunately, there are people in the world, in your life, who come to expect that from you. They come to expect that you're always gonna say yes to them. And you're always gonna do what they want you to do. And when you don't do that, then there's a problem. And that's not very fun to deal with. But it's kind of on you to set that limit with them and to set that boundary with them. It's almost just as important for them as it is for you, honestly, because people are going to treat you the way you let them. And there are people out there that are going to treat you like crap if you don't set boundaries with them. And I mentioned this in another video. My mom passed away a little over 6 years ago. And I had a really good friend at the time, who I considered my best friend at the time, actually, who had a really tough time understanding that I was not the same person that I was before my mom passed away. She just could not grasp that fact, you know, and she would get really upset with me and just treat me like dirt if I didn't immediately do what she wanted me to do or go somewhere with her. I don't know. I mean, there's several different examples I could give, but she just didn't like me to say no and to draw that line. And part of that is because I never really had a boundary with her, because there was that part of me that felt like, oh, you know, I need to be nice. And she was struggling with a lot of other things and had been, you know, kind of through some rocky relationships and whatnot. And so I don't know, I just kind of took on this very caregiver role in her life, and I just never wanted to disappoint her or hurt her. Well, in the process of that, you know, she being a very manipulative person, and I kind of understood maybe why she did have some other issues in her life based on that, she took full advantage of that. And, you know, I'm not really sitting here blaming her. I mean, I allowed that to go on. That's the thing. You got to really be able to draw a line in the sand with some people and say, hey, no, you're not, I'm not letting you do this to me anymore. Okay, I think what I'm going to do now is my lower lash line, and I'm going to grab my little roll here of ColourPop Cream Gel Liners. And I think I will use, I want to go more purple or more blue or pink. You know what? I think I'm just going to go purple. I'm going to use this one here. This is called Piggy Bank, and put this in my lower waterline. Uh, one of the things too that I've determined as I've aged is that life is very precious and it's very short. And you have to really be discerning in where you want to put your time and your energy and your thoughts and your love and your emotions. You kind of have to be very discerning about that, because we don't get this back. You know, we don't get to do this again. This is it. I just look at it as I really don't want to waste my time or my energy and my love and all those, you know, different things. I don't really want to waste it on someone that doesn't deserve it. It's really important. Now I'm going to go into the shade here called Dreamy, and I'll put that towards the outer part of the lower lash line. But like I said, I just, you know, I've always been the person that wants to make other people happy and to be the, you know, just the nice person. But you can be nice and you can be the sunshine in other people's day without allowing them to walk all over you. And saying no is a very liberating, very powerful thing. And I highly suggest that if you struggle with it, if you struggle with saying no, start doing it. Just start doing it. I know that might sound scary to you, but I'm telling you, you just need to start doing it. And I would do it with people that maybe, you know, you're real familiar with, like maybe really close family or friends, you know, or close friends and family, whatever. You know, maybe try it out on someone that you know you can say no to, and they're not going to be, you know, like totally like, what do you mean no, you know? And then work towards those people that might be the person that's going to say, what do you mean no? Oh, I love that. That's really pretty. It's just really important that you gain that sense of self and that you start putting yourself first. You're not selfish. You're not a jerk. You're not a bad person. You're taking care of yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that. And don't let anybody tell you that you have a problem because you want to take care of yourself and put yourself first. You know, self-love is such a critical part of our own happiness. And when you don't take care of yourself and you don't love yourself and you constantly spend all your time worrying about everybody else and loving everybody else, it's really hard to live your life and be happy. Okay, now I'm going to go into Start. I'm going to put this towards the front part. Ooh, a little bit of fallout there. And I'm going to put this right here. Ooh, very pretty. Yes, I love this. Oh, this is so fun. I'm really glad that I used that purple in the waterline. That looks nice. That's cool. Okay. Yeah, I'm loving this look. Yeah, I really like that blue. That's such a cool blue matte in that palette. Ooh. Okay, now I think what I'll do is go into the Ethereal palette, and I was gonna use this shade here called Dream in my inner corner, but it's kind of got a pink to orange, and I don't really want orange in this. So I think what I'll do is go into Pure with my little brush here. Oh yeah, that is beautiful. Oh, that is so cool. I love these kind of shades because it kind of like takes on the shades that are around it, so it's becoming more blue. When I swatched it, it almost was kind of like a, well, I guess it was kind of blue when I swatched it. I don't know, kind of greenish blue, but this is more of a true blue. Oh, I love that. That is so pretty. Woo! Okay, let me go on my other eye too. Here, of course. This is a pretty flaky shade. You know, if you have your face makeup on, I think if you're going to use this palette, I would spray it. So now I'm going to bronze my face, and get ready because this looks awful. This is the Iconic London bronzer in Ultimate Bronzing Powder in medium, and there's my fingerprints are all over it. I'm so bad about that. And I'm going to go back to forgiveness here for just a second. I'm going to tell you a little forgiveness story. Just to kind of prove my point here about how good it feels to just let stuff go and not carry that crap around with you forever. So when my daughter was 12, she was in the 7th grade, she started getting bullied by these two kids that she'd gone to school with, one of them since I think kindergarten, and the other one was kind of like a newer kid in school. There was a girl that was bullying her who I ended up finding out later on had a pretty rough home life. Her mom was just kind of never around, and I don't know, she's kind of left to fend for herself. And I think honestly, there was some jealousy there. I think, I don't know, Sydney just has always been a very bright light and very sweet. I mean, I know she's my daughter, I'm a little biased, but You know, most people that know her would say the same. She's just a very beautiful, very funny, very bright, very sweet, loving young woman. And I'm going to try not to butcher my nose with bronzer today. Anyway, so this girl just did not like Sydney at all. Just, I don't know, just decided to go after her. And there was a boy that was also joining along with the bullying with this girl, who Sydney had actually known for a long time. And I was friends with his mom, and his younger brother was friends with my son. And I could never really understand why he kind of joined in with this. Because like I said, my hair is so wet. I'm going to dry my hair at the end of the video here, I promise. But I could never really understand why he was joining in with this. Because like I said, they'd been friends. Anyway, they weren't physically bullying her, but they were just awful to her. Just awful. So mean, so nasty. Would say really awful things to her. She'd come home in tears, you know, really upset. You know, they'd get like right in her face, and it had gone on for quite a while. And I kept, you know, trying to, I didn't want to be one of those parents that just jumps right in and like takes over and, you know, embarrasses her, because she was like, Mom, please don't do anything. I don't, you know, it's just going to make it worse, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I finally had enough. Okay. Had enough. I went to the school and I sat down with the principal and the guidance counselor, and I said, oh, my hair looks awful. Oh, God. And I said, this stuff either stops or I am going to get involved here. Like if I have to come with her every day to school and, you know, chase these kids off with a broomstick, I'm going to do it. They're like, no, we'll handle it. And they did. They sat the kids down and they told both of these kids to knock it off, to quit being so awful to Sydney, and that, you know, if they didn't stop, that, you know, it was going to be, we're going to get the police involved, basically. And the girl ended up moving to a different town, I think. And I have heard a little bit about her since then, and rough life, and my heart really goes out to her. I mean, I don't like the fact that she bullied my daughter, but, you know, I do have some understanding and some empathy for that. Anyway, the boy that had been bullying Sydney, they kind of like came to a mutual agreement. Like he apologized, and, you know, I don't think they were ever really like friends, but they were, you know, so they could be civil to one another. So then Sydney graduates from high school. She goes to college. I think she was either a sophomore or junior in college. And we have a little store down the street from our house that I go to every so often to like get things that I've forgotten. And now I'm going to use my blush. And this is the L'Oreal Paris True Match Super Blendable Blush in Cool. Isn't there a shade name? Spiced Plum C78. I'm so horrible about this. And I got this for my full face of drugstore makeup collab with Dion, and I'm loving this blush. Anyway, so I, you know, would forget things and I would go into this little store. Anyway, the boy that had been bullying Sydney worked behind the counter. And I hated this kid. And I know that's a strong word, but I did. I hated him. I would see him off and on throughout like the rest of middle school into high school, and I would just glare at him. Like if I was at the school with Sydney, I would just give him the stink eye, and he just kind of like and walk away from me like, oh my God, this lady's crazy. I mean, could not stand him. So the first time I walk in and he's working behind the counter, I literally almost walked out. And I thought, no, you gotta get this stuff. And don't let this punk make you walk out of a store. Like, no. So anyway, I went in there a handful of times while he was working, and I would not speak to him. I would just walk up, set my stuff down on the counter, and just stare at him like this, you know. Couldn't stand him. And he obviously, you know, was visibly uncomfortable. I mean, he didn't like that at all. There was one time actually where he actually left from behind the counter and had a girl help me that was working there. And I don't know, maybe the 7th time I went in, he was working behind the counter, and I walked up with my stuff, and he said, I know you know who I am. And I said, well, obviously. And he said, and I know that you don't like me. And I said, it's not necessarily that I don't like you. I don't like what you did to my daughter. And he's like, I know that. And he said, and I have apologized to Sydney, and she and I are friendly. But he goes, I just realized over the last little while here that I never really said I was sorry to you. And I said, well, I don't know that you necessarily need to say that you're sorry to me. You didn't do it to me. And he goes, yeah, but I did do it to your daughter. And I know how much you love her and how much she means to you. And I just want to say, take a minute and just say, I'm really sorry for how I treated your daughter. There was no excuse for that. And I can imagine as a mom that was really hard for you to see your daughter go through that. a ding, ding, ding. I'm like, yeah, it sure was. But I reached out and I grabbed his hand and I said, I really appreciate you apologizing to me. I really do. It means a lot. And I said, I'm going to walk out of the store today with a lot more lightness in my heart than how I felt when I walked in and I saw you, to be honest. And that feels really good. And I said, and the next time I come in here, I want to talk about you. I want to find out about your life, how your parents are doing. Because like I said, I'd been friends with his mom, how your little brother's doing. You know, are you in school, girlfriend, whatever. Like, let's talk about it. And that's what we would do. After that, every single time I would come into that store and he would be working, we just sit and chat. And it felt so good to let that crap go. Not that it was something that I should have been holding on to. I mean, it did happen to my daughter, but as her mother, you know, I am a mother bear. If somebody hurts my kids, I'm like, "Meow." So it just felt good to let that crap go. It was amazing. Now I'm going to be applying my highlighter, and this is the Maybelline New York Master Chrome by Face Studio Metallic Highlighter in 050 Rose Gold Molten. Molten? Yeah. Now, the last little thing I want to talk about here, and then I'm going to wrap this up, I promise. Where's my brush? There it is. I'm going to kind of try to buzz through this as quickly as I possibly can because, you know, this video is going to be 3 hours long. I'm really hard on myself. That's something that I really struggle with, is just being so hard on myself. I don't like to make mistakes, especially at work, and also in my personal life. I just don't like to make mistakes, you know? And if I do, I just beat myself up internally. Like all the nasty things that get said to myself in my own head is ridiculous. And I've tried over the years to stop doing that. And I think I've gotten better, but I still really struggle with it. And I can't stand it. You know, it's so stupid to do that to yourself. I mean, we're not robots. We're human. We're going to make mistakes, you know. But man, I struggle. I also over apologize for things. That drives my husband nuts. Like, I don't know, we might be doing dishes together or something, and I'll put a dish in, and then he goes to put another dish in, and the dish might fall over. I mean, this is a dumb example. And I'll say, oh, I'm sorry. And he's like, what are you sorry for? Like, a dish just fell over. Calm down. I mean, he gets on me about it. He'll say, would you quit saying you're sorry? You don't have to apologize. He's like, and don't do that in front of other people because they're going to think I'm like this big tyrant that you have to apologize to all the time. But I just really wish that I could get to a point where I just don't do that kind of stuff to myself. You know, we're going to make mistakes. Like I just said, I don't need to repeat myself, but that's life. And to be honest with you, I have learned so much more, I would say, from my mistakes than I've learned from things I've done right, if that makes any sense. So, you know, I think a lot of times my mistakes have made me who I am. And I do like who I am for the most part. I think I'm a pretty decent person. So do you guys struggle with that? Are you really hard on yourselves? And how do you handle that? Like, how do you get to the point where you can make a mistake and like laugh at yourself? Sometimes I can, it depends. Like if I fall down or do something totally ridiculous, I can laugh at myself. But most times I just tell myself what a stupid idiot, horrible, awful waste of space I am. And you know, you don't need to talk to yourself like that. Nobody should do that. So I think I'm pretty much done with this look. I might need to go back in and blend that a little bit better. I don't know. We'll see. But I am going to go off camera. I'm going to put my eyeliner on, my mascara on, my lipstick, and also deal with my hair so I don't look like a drowned rat. And I'll be right back to show you how everything came together, so don't move a muscle. I am back, and this is the finished look. And I love how this look turned out. And I am so happy that I finally got the Ethereal palette from Gourmande Girls out of its box that's been sitting in here for, what, a month? And finally used it today. I love it. And I also love the Moira Cosmetics palette. And I'm going to talk to you guys about those palettes, show them to you again. But before I do, I did want to go over a few things I used in my finished look today. For my mascara, I used the ColourPop Act Natural Defining Mascara that Oakley sent me for our makeup swap collab. I just hadn't used this in quite a while, and I love it. It's very nice mascara. Lengthening, thickening, works amazingly well. And then for my upper lid liner, yeah, I did. I used the Ciate London Fierce Flicks Liquid Liner in the shade Black. I just knew that this would go over that shimmer shade from the Ethereal palette really well. And it did. I love this eyeliner, and that's all I'm going to say about it. And then let's go to the lipstick. I did use the LaBelle Cosmetics Matte Liquid Lipstick in the shade Vamp Addict. Steph, not your basic Steph, she sent this to me from the UK. And this is my favorite purple liquid lipstick that I own in my collection. It just feels so nice on the lips, and it doesn't look super drying, doesn't make me look like the Crypt Keeper. It lasts really well throughout the day. I mean, it does transfer a little bit, but really not that bad. And I just think it's amazing. I love it. Thank you, Steph, so much. Okay, let's talk about the palettes. Let's start off with the Moira Cosmetics palette first. This is the Moira Cosmetics Day Dreams palette that I used, the mattes I used out of this palette today. I use this one here called Start in my transition area and on my lower lash line, the front part of the lower lash line. I use this called Dreamy in my outer V and on the lower lash line, and I also use this one called Of Dreams to blend this shade out. And these mattes are incredible. Some of my favorite mattes that I have in my collection, truly. I've used this palette now, I think, 4 or 5 times, I guess, including today. And I'm just always so impressed with how the mattes perform. They're pigmented, they blend well. Highly recommend checking out this brand. I did get this in an Ice Cream Beauty box, but I'm really happy that I did because I've wanted to try this brand for a really long time. And I have seen a couple palettes perform maybe not as good as this one has in other people's videos, but I'm a huge fan of this brand and I really do want to get some more palettes from them. And then let's talk about the Gourmande Girls Ethereal palette. Oh man, I'm such a huge fan of this brand. I also love the Sailor Moore palette that I have. Now, there's a ton of different things I could have done with this palette, of course. I could have used, 3 or 4 of these shimmers at once on my lid, but I don't know. I just really wanted this to be the star of the show. This shade called Nova that I used across the lid. Oh, it's so pretty. It does the blue to pink to kind of lavendery purple shift. Oh, I love it. And then this shade here called Pure, I use that in my inner corner. Oh, so beautiful. Very dynamic and bright and just amazing. And I love the texture. At first, like I said, there's kind of that harder spray over the top, or I don't know what that's called, overspray, or I don't know. I mean, those of you that have more experience in makeup, let me know in the comment section, please. But once you kind of get that off and you get into the smushy butteriness of the shimmer, it performs like a dream. And I just love it. I'm so glad I got this. And if you guys would like me to use this again on my channel, use more of these shimmers, please let me know in the comment section, and I would love to do that for you. I really do appreciate you guys sitting here and listening to me ramble about all these different things. The point that I'm trying to make here, or what I'd like for you to leave with today, after all my ramblings, is that number one, I know that it can be hard to forgive, at least for me. It has been hard for me to forgive things in my life. I've been through some stuff. And the thing that I learned, really mostly from my mom, but also just from living life and maturing and aging, is that it's just not worth holding on to things that weigh you down, that make you angry, that make you feel bad, that remind you of things that maybe didn't go so well in your life. And it's okay to let it go. It doesn't mean that what happened to you is okay. It doesn't mean that what somebody did to you is okay. But it just gets you to a point where you're not living in it every single minute of every single day of your life. And that is so important. It's so important. And just because you forgive somebody, it doesn't mean that you have to forget what happened. It doesn't mean that you have to let them back into your life. You don't ever have to do that. But I think it's really good to get to a point where you are indifferent. You don't have to love, you don't have to hate, but you can be completely indifferent. Just let it roll off your back, not have any kind of emotional reaction. Don't let somebody who doesn't deserve it live in your head rent free, in the words of my mother. And then number 2, saying no. I'm much better about it than I used to be. I really am. And I think a lot of us, and for my generation, I think we were almost kind of raised that way. But it's really important that you set boundaries with people. Unfortunately, there are people in the world that are going to treat you as bad as you let them treat you. And don't let them do that. It's really important that you draw that line and that you do not allow anybody to take control of your emotions, your thoughts, your actions, none of it. You're not a bad person because you say no. It's okay to take care of yourself. Self-love is such a huge component of who we are and what makes us happy. I love taking care of my family, my kids, my husband, my friends, my extended family. I love that. And I always want to be a loving, nice, caring individual, but not at the expense of somebody else, ever. And don't forget that. You don't need to constantly give of yourself and never get anything back in return. So just spend some time maybe thinking about that today. If you struggle with saying no, start saying no to some people that you can trust and that you know you can say no to, and they're not going to lose their minds. And if they do lose their minds when you say no, maybe that person shouldn't be in your life anymore. Maybe they're just not good for you to have in your life. And then number 3, being hard on yourself. Stop being hard on yourself. We all make mistakes. We're not robots. We're human beings. It's okay to make a mistake. And you know, like I said earlier, I've learned so much from my mistakes. I think in a lot of cases more from my mistakes than the things I've done right. Be kind to yourself. Give yourself some grace around your mistakes. You're going to make more. We're all going to make more. But as long as you learn from it, I think, and you don't keep repeating the same mistakes, that's the key here. And I would love to know in the comment section if you guys struggle with any of these things and how you've overcome it, if you've overcome it, and if you haven't overcome it. Let's talk about it in the comment section. I love to connect with you guys about life stuff. It just makes me feel good to have really deep, meaningful conversations if you're willing to do that in the comment section. I would love it. And I would also like to know what you guys think of my look. Let me know what you think. And like I said, if you do want me to use that palette again, that ethereal palette from Gourmande Girls, I would love to. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your busy day or evening to sit down and watch my video. It always means the world to me. If you have subscribed or you would like to subscribe, do not forget to hit the notification bell. That way you're aware of all of my future uploads. I cannot wait to see you guys again in my next video, but in the meantime, please take care of yourself, be well, safe, happy, and I hope to see you very soon. Thanks again, you guys. Take care. Bye.
Drop it.